get the blues in the morning, I get them in the evening too. I get the blues in the morning. How about you? I get that lonely, lonely feeling they call the New London Blues. I get the lonely, lonely feeling they call the New London Blues.
Hi, good evening, welcome. I wasn't planning to do the show tonight, and I don't know how many of you don't want me to do the show. I guess it really doesn't matter. I got roped into this with my big mouth. But I have Larry Hample with me tonight, and thank goodness, because Larry usually has a lot of good information. But he came back
depending on you tonight.
Well, you came back from vacation. Now we didn't know what to talk about, but we talked about a few things at our meeting on Wednesday. I just thought I'd open up with a little ditty.
Little bitty.
Ditty.
Ditty.
Little bitty ditty. So, to break the ice, I guess, for a Friday night, and hope everybody enjoyed the day. The first nice, really nice day that it got warmer, and you know, after 30 degrees and 40 degrees, 60 degrees is warm, which is nice. But if you're at 90 degrees or 80 degrees, 60 degrees is cool. However, I guess if you're older, which I deal with a lot of older people, then 60 degrees, your skin does thin out, or it seems like your body thins out as you get older. I know that because I'm older too. So, coffee with Jesus.
Huh?
A Republican in a wheelchair entered a restaurant one afternoon and asked the waitress for a cup of coffee. The Republican looked across the restaurant and asked, "Is that Jesus sitting over there?" And the waitress replied, "Yes." So the Republican requested that she give Jesus a cup of coffee on him.
Oh, my.
Nice, right? The next patron to come in was a libertarian with a hunched back. He shuffled over to the booth, painfully sat down, and asked the waitress for a cup of hot tea. He also glanced across the restaurant and asked, "Is that Jesus over there?" The waitress nodded, so the libertarian asked her to give Jesus a cup of coffee. My treat.
Wow.
The third patron to come into the restaurant was a Democrat on crutches. He hobbled over to the booth, sat down, and hollered, "Hey there, honey. How's about getting me a cold mug of Miller Lite?" He too looked across the restaurant and asked, "Isn't that God's boy over there?" And the waitress nodded, so the Democrat directed her to give Jesus a cold beer. "On my bill," he said loudly so everyone in the restaurant could hear. As Jesus got up to leave, he passed by the Republican, touched him, and said, "For your kindness, you are healed." The Republican felt the strength come back into his legs, got up, and began to praise the Lord Jesus. Jesus passed by the libertarian, touched him, and said, "For your kindness, you are healed." And the libertarian felt his back straightening up. He raised his hands, and he too began to praise the Lord. Then Jesus walked with a huge smile on his face toward the Democrat. The Democrat jumped up and yelled, "Don't touch me! I'm on disability."
Oh.
For those who understand, no explanation is necessary.
Uh-huh.
For those of you who do not understand, no explanation is possible.
Okay. I got it.
All right, so we had our meeting Wednesday. Today's Friday, I can't.
Yeah.
And we were trying to think about what to talk about. And
One thing came up at the meeting.
A big one.
Well,
You want to start? Or
No, you're doing fine.
Well,
I'll jump in on the running board.
we're talking about the school board and the budget, right?
Yeah.
Well, we started talking, and the school budget, the counselors wanted, Mike Passero brought out a budget that flat funded the school board's budget this year. And of course, the school needs more money. They need more money every year because they're crooked as the day is long.
Yeah.
And they always yell
Yeah.
for the children, for the children.
Yeah.
But do the children ever get anything?
Yeah.
Never. They always hire more administration. Rob Funk got a new job for $145,000.
Uh-huh.
Now they want chefs.
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 What do they want chefs
in
for?
every middle school, from what I understand, right?
Every middle school?
I mean, every school.
Every school.
At a cost of
What do
$60,000 each.
each?
Now,
What does the chef do?
you said something which was kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
What did you say about the food?
Well, first of all, we're assuming that they want a chef to improve the quality of the meals. Doesn't it sound like that on the surface?
Yes.
No? What else would they want a chef for? And why do they want to improve the quality of the food for the kids? Because the report we got there at the meeting was that the kids are throwing away half of the food.
Right.
And a lot of it is maybe I don't know. I haven't seen just what it is, but a lot of it, I guess, is like sandwiches, and they're all wrapped up.
No.
And they're
Not just that.
well, I don't know what else.
Fruit.
Yeah, but
You get little
they
cups.
don't even.
You get little cups with broccoli and carrots, or I guess tomatoes and carrots and broccoli in it for them to eat. Healthy foods, which obviously we have to feed the kids because the parents can't afford to feed their kids. They can't afford to clothe them, we have to give them clothes. They can't afford to feed them, we have to feed them. Anything else they have to do, we have to do that.
Who says they can't afford it?
Obviously,
Who said they can't afford
we
it?
have, because it's mandated by, we have to give meals to everybody.
Oh,
So
yeah.
why do parents even have to be parents today
Yeah,
if they give up their
Yeah.
parental rights, and
Yeah.
we as taxpayers have to give everything to these kids.
Well, if they give up their parental rights, do they give up their right to that welfare check that pays
Absolutely
for it?
not.
Oh, they don't give that part up.
And granted, don't call me and tell me you don't do this. I know this is not all the parents in New London. We do have some responsible people, parents in this town. So,
Anyway, they're throwing most of it away.
Right.
Still wrapped.
yeah, I guess.
Is
Ralph,
what-
I don't
well,
know if
that's what we were being told the other night.
Okay.
So they hardly look at it and just throw it away. So I'm guessing, assuming, the chef is supposed to correct this? How?
Well, first
Now,
of all,
when you said there was some-
$60,000 a year times how many schools are we talking about?
What, 6 now? You know, plus since it'll be
Three elementary schools,
yeah.
right? You've got, or do you count? I don't know if they count Harbor School.
Well, they're talking about redoing
Benny
it.
Dover
and using
Jackson,
it.
the middle, which is the middle school, the high school, the magnet school.
Yeah.
How about that Buckley? What's that Buckley? Is that the Buckley school on?
No, what, Isaac or something?
Not Isaac. That's
No.
downtown. The one
Oh.
that's. So say it's 7 or 8 schools. It's $60,000
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
7 times 6
Yeah.
is $420,000
Plus
plus.
the perks and pension,
Right.
since it's going to be city employees.
Right. Now, you know what I was told?
No, I don't know what you were told.
This is a grant.
A grant?
What happens after a grant?
Yeah, then we're stuck with the bill.
That's right. Somebody told me, oh well, they'll leave. Does
No.
that ever happen in New
No,
London?
not in New London. Whenever the grant runs out, all of a sudden the city council says, well, we'll keep them on and we'll foot the bill.
Now, what happened when you were growing up? Did you ever buy lunch at school?
Well, we bought lunch in grammar school.
Okay, you bought lunch.
Yeah, well, I remember carrying, a paper bag with lunch.
I did
And
too.
then I remember after a while, we did have lunch for whatever it was, 15 cents or 20 cents.
I remember, did you have to get milk?
Well, we have
In
milk.
that little carton, right?
We had milk.
How much was
At
that?
10 o'clock, it was 15 cents a week. And in the case of milk, there was always a certain number of free milk for the poor people.
I remember it cost us 2 cents for a thing of milk.
We didn't know we were poor at the time.
I guess not.
And for a bonus, once a week, we'd line up by the principal's office and take our dose of cod liver oil.
We didn't do that. No, we didn't do that.
All right, then, let's see, then got out of there and went to, I guess what you would call middle school now, 7th and 8th grade.
Well, it was junior high back then, right?
Well, junior high.
Right.
No lunch.
No?
No lunch. High school, no lunch.
No, we had them. We had them.
Well, not
Yeah.
where I was.
Okay.
No lunch. No.
All right, so it was good for you.
Well,
It was good. It was
we
good for your
survived.
generation. It was good for my generation. It was good for my kids' generation. And my kids brought their lunch. I prepared their lunches every day.
yeah.
If they wanted to buy it one day because, we're going to have pizza or something, fine, all right? But it wasn't that. All of a sudden, because of this politically correct and because it seems like everybody is poor or they can't afford to feed their own kids, we have to provide, our taxpayers have to provide food to every child in the schools. Now, I'm not saying the kids shouldn't get fed. That's not what I'm saying. The responsibility of the parents is gone.
Yeah.
And it just, this generation, and it seems like from the year 2000 up, can't provide for themselves. I just don't understand. I'm getting sick of it.
Well,
Because nobody is taking the responsibility for themselves. And that's not the responsibility of government to pay, because government is poor.
No, wait.
I'm going to end up getting the hit on this one, but go ahead.
No, that's fine. But isn't our city council Democrat socialists?
Yeah.
Aren't they trying to turn New London into a socialist country?
Absolutely.
They want the townspeople to be more and more dependent on government.
Absolutely.
And this is part of it. This is how they start sneaking it in a little at a time.
And
eventually, anything you want, it's going to be.
We'll provide, right?
Yeah.
And
except, where do they get the money?
oh my God, we're rich. New London is rich. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
We get all this money for it's an empty.
Where does
it's
it
an
come
open
from?
jar. Stick your money in your hand and pull out money from the money jar. Pull it off the trees, the money tree. Nobody in this town knows how to curb spending.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't. Not if you're going to be socialist.
Well, and guess what? The state's in trouble.
I wonder why. They're socialists too.
And it goes way up. So let's just stick here for a second.
Okay.
Or for a few minutes.
All right. Yeah.
I happened to listen to the Lee Elsie show this morning, which I listen to every morning. I don't get to listen to 3-4 hours. I never get, if I get a few minutes here and there, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Ray Hackett was on this morning.
Oh.
Now, Ray Hackett will admit that he's a Democrat and he's a socialist.
Yeah.
He was questioning the money that is going to the schools. Now, he used to write for the Norwich Bulletin, I believe it was. And why is it that the schools get automatic payments if you're, let's go big numbers. If a town is getting their school budget is $40 million.
Yeah.
Well, that cannot go down.
Yeah.
It's automatic that they get that the following year. And it also seems like it's automatic that he was saying, it seems like the budget increases on every school budget every year.
Yeah.
They just want more and more and more. And this isn't just New London.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems to be everywhere. Well, he's saying, why does that have to be like that? He would like to see, which really surprised me, and Ray is smart.
Yeah, I've heard him a few times, yeah.
Why does that have to be automatic? If a school population is going down, shouldn't the budget be decreased? This gives an impetus for every school board to raise their tuition no matter what happens. But if the population of kids goes down, it should be decreased, right? Well, he would like to see, he's hoping the politicians change this.
Yeah, but don't you remember about 6 years ago, when Montville, I believe it was Montville, they actually had their education budget reduced.
Okay, yeah.
And, even though they say you can't do it, Montville did it.
Right.
Because they says our school population went down. So we can reduce it.
Right.
So that's already in there.
Well, Ray was saying it should be taken up by the state legislature.
But it's already in the state.
Well, obviously not. Obviously
no,
not.
They just don't
and Ray
do
knows, but they don't do it, yes. But I think that regardless of what your budget is for every school board, and let's just go $40 million, how many more millions are paid to New London in grants every year? A good 20 million, 26 million? Isn't the New London's school, don't they receive something like $67 million in a year, which is a bunch of grants and
a few years ago, with at least one of my sort of many talks with Ernie. Oh, in fact, Ernie is having a big deal down Copperwoods right now.
Why?
Because he's running again for the 7th term or something. So.
But he's going to have to face a primary.
Well, whatever. Let's just see. Now you threw me off the track.
Well, you're the one who brought it up on Copperwoods.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was talking to him because he usually stops by our morning coffee clutch. It used to be once a month, or 6 weeks or 2 months. And, this is a few years back now.
Right.
We give New London $39 million. The state gives $39 million. I said, Ernie, remember this, the time you're giving us $39 million, the same time you're taking $42 million out of New London.
Right.
With the state income tax and all the sales taxes, gasoline tax, tax, you're taking $42 million. Mm-hmm. So don't say you're giving us $39 million. We don't even get the money back that you took from us. All he would kept saying, well, we're giving you $39 million. Ernie, you're taking 42. No, we're giving you 39. Typical. Their ears are plugged because all they want to do is talk about how wonderful they are, and you're getting beat by them all the time. So now, as far as grants go, all through the year you hear about grants, but you never hear of any kind of total. So I can't help you there.
Okay.
How many different grants there are, and how many of the grants that are for something specific, somehow some of them get sidetracked to be spent somewhere else. So it's
because they don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
They don't know how to say no to spending.
Yeah. Well, there it is. It's socialism coming back in. They're never going to stop.
But the state is in huge trouble. The state, they've laid off, I don't know how many, it was 165, and then today in the paper something like 126 people on the judicial side, which they know they're going to have to cut more. And we brought this up on my show on Tuesday, that why can't, and the UConn president is recommending for everybody who's making a 2-day furloughs.
Yeah.
Give back in 2 days. Really, what is state UConn president giving back? If she's making $500,000 to $750,000 a year,
I think with the raise it was about $750, or it's promised to her in the next couple of years.
Well, I don't think she should get the raise. I really don't.
I don't think she should get $600.
I think $250,000 or $300,000 would be plenty. And then when I brought it to Dennis, and the people who are making millions, if you're making $5 million, do you think you could make $4 million? Is that extra million really that much of a difference to you? Are you really spending that much? What would $1 million do to save some employees? Say there are 20 employees who are making $50,000 each. That's $1 million you could save. You could save 20 employees by these people who are making $5 million a year and giving up $1 million. I mean, this. I know this doesn't sound like me, considering I'm not a Democrat, but to save people's jobs, I think it would be so beneficial. Can you live that much better on $5 million than $4 million?
You're talking about saving jobs. Well, just think of the union. Now they're laying off so many hundreds of union workers. If the union means a group of us sticking together, we're a union, we're all for one and one for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if there's 100 guys being laid off, where the alternative to have them keep their job, if everybody else in the union took a 10% cut, they would save the jobs for these 100 or this 1,000 that are going to get laid off. If they're all in there to help each other, why don't they do that? They'll save those jobs. Take a 10% cut.
Well,
what do they say? No, not me, not me. Yeah, they're union guys. Hey, tough luck for them. They lost their job. I'm not giving up a nickel. That's their attitude. I voted along with the union contract to get my raise. I'm not going to give it up to save my buddy's job. My buddy lives next door. Hey, tough luck to him. That's their attitude.
Well,
think about it.
In the paper, what was it? The Mike DeMoro was going in the paper today. He's going the I situation as opposed to the we.
Yeah.
Now, and that was really because of sports, but it's appropriate to push that off onto people now today. I mean, especially in Connecticut. We gained 100 jobs in the region. How many people are leaving Connecticut? As opposed to the past quarter or even if it was a month that we gained 100 jobs in the region. How many people have left Connecticut because
Probably
the state
10,000.
It's too expensive to live in this state?
Yeah. Some years back, it was an average of 20,000 a year left Connecticut, and most of the time there'd be maybe only 15 or 18,000 coming into Connecticut.
Right.
And one year there was 22,000 came into Connecticut.
As opposed to how many left?
Well, the average was 20,000 leaving.
Okay.
I don't have the exact years, the exact figures, because I read this some time back.
Okay.
And
I mean, there's still going to be a pretty big exodus in Connecticut.
Well, yeah. Well, we just come back from Florida. You want to see the road building down there, the millions and millions of dollars they spend on widening the roads, 2 lanes, 3 lanes,
3
4
lanes.
lanes.
I see 5 and 6
5
lanes.
lanes.
Oh yeah, Florida's got some great roads. What are the roads in Connecticut? They
4
stink.
lanes, 4 lanes just in the exit.
Right.
Jeez.
It's amazing. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. They don't have a state income tax.
Yeah.
The tourists pay the biggest parts of the
Yeah.
taxes, and they're very happy for it. They're
Yeah.
not going to stop. But in Connecticut, the roads stink.
Yeah.
But the politicians stink even more, and not all of them, because I know of a few really good ones. Most of the politicians in Connecticut stink, and like we keep saying, all they ever do is waste our money. They spend the pension money. Well, Ray is also saying about the pensions and stop paying the big pensions to these people, figure it out differently, hold off a little bit differently of how you spend. He came up with a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
But does Connecticut ever listen? No. Malloy made this budget, the Democrats passed the budget without Republican help. Now all of a sudden that they've got all these problems, Malloy is changing his tune. And they're asking for the Republicans' help now. I'm not saying that the Republicans are necessarily any better than the Democrats, although the past 30 years, if you look easily at Connecticut, it's been run by Democrats.
Yeah.
And all they know how to do is spend. All they know how to do is vote for crap. Across the board, crap.
Yeah.
Because that's all we keep doing is getting bigger and bigger budgets. What's going to happen? Say there's, I think there's 2 or 3 million people in Connecticut. 3, I think. What's going to happen if Connecticut keeps losing the citizens that it does, which deserves to be lost? You lose 1 million people in Connecticut. And all of a sudden we go from 3 million to 2 million. And who's going to pay into the Connecticut to help fund Connecticut?
Well,
It's going to be less and less. Now all of a sudden 2 million go to 1.5 million.
yeah.
Because businesses are leaving Connecticut.
Yeah.
And do you blame businesses for leaving Connecticut? No.
Well, what you're saying now, I used, the same principle, but, smaller numbers. I'd say 15 years ago, at the state legislature building, and saying pretty much that exact same thing. I says, all you care about is state employees. I said, what are you going to do when the people that are actually working and paying the bills, paying the taxes, when they're all gone? And you only have state employees.
Right.
They won't pay the taxes. What are you going to do? They just look at you, with that dumb look on their face, like,
Now,
they don't hear a thing.
Now, you have it right here.
I have it right there.
Right.
There's something
London
in here
Council says-
I want to tell you about in
All
there.
right. New London Council says flat funding school district is foolish and short-sighted.
Yeah.
But Mike Passero,
Yeah.
our mayor,
Yeah.
came up with this budget.
Yeah.
Maybe, and we did have flat funding a few years ago, but he came up with this to pretty much help the citizens of New London, that our taxes don't have to go up for a change. Because the past 4 years, all they ever did was go up.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure, but the Board of Education went in front, or not, a whole bunch of people went in front of the city council, the people who work for the schools,
Yeah.
and we're talking to the counselors, and 3 of the counselors were changing their minds, saying that maybe we really shouldn't
Yeah.
be going flat funding, and they're listening and they're agreeing that, and I agree that the teachers of New London deserve a raise. And I'm limiting it to the teachers.
Yeah.
I'm not including administration, principals, or people like that.
Yeah.
The teachers deserve a huge raise because they haven't gotten their raises. But when you're paying, and not just low 6-figure incomes, to administration, they're getting up there.
Yeah.
You think they're going to want to be taken? They want to keep getting more and more and more.
Yeah.
It's because and their benefit packages are huge for administration. But a teacher, they don't have those years in, they get screwed. So teachers deserve the money, and this is why people have come up to my wife and said, we want your husband to leave New London. And I've said, fine, buy my house for my price and I'll leave.
That's what I tell people too. You guys raised it up that high.
Right.
Give me the money and I'll leave.
Absolutely.
Happily.
Absolutely.
Gladly. You made it that high. Yeah.
But there are plenty of houses still for sale in New London. Yeah. But they're not going for what the market value should be.
Yeah.
A lot of houses, Lori Hopkins Cavanaugh said a few weeks ago she had listed 30 houses under foreclosure.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in New London.
Yeah. I just saw two for sale signs now on Pequot again. You know, that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I saw one today.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah. So,
I really was surprised.
and I think it might have been Hackett that said it this morning. He just reminded me of. He says the other thing that they should stop is when people that are working the 8-hour day and then they're working overtime.
Oh, that was it. You're right.
He says that overtime should not go towards their pension.
Right.
You know, you're working for that salary, the 60 or 70, whatever it is. That's what your pension should be based on.
Right.
Not on another $50,000 in overtime and base the pension on that.
Right. He said that has got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would save money. But like you say, the Democrats won't do it.
Well, from what I understand, the Republicans are slowly gaining, and I mean slowly. Maybe people will finally get it and throw some of these other people out who've been there. This is why we need term limits. But
no, here's why I brought this out. You know, since you started it on the says flat funding.
Yeah.
This part here, Councilor Don Venditto said the city-wide referendum vote approving $168 million in school construction spending was a message that the city wants investment in its schools. Now, why doesn't he tell the rest of the story?
That's right.
How and why they voted for that $168 million.
How much of that?
Now, you go back to when they were raising the taxes.
Right. The
city council told the people, told 3/4 of the taxpayers in town, 3/4 of them said, your taxes aren't going to go up. So they went to the referendum, and they wanted more money for the schools, so they voted for it. Oh, well, our taxes aren't going up. The city council just told us that. That's why they voted for that $168 million. Not because they wanted, a better school or anything. Their taxes weren't going up, so they voted for it. But this guy will not say that.
No, he also won't say that we weren't committed to the $168 million. How much of that was coming from the state?
Well,
I know
the way that bonding business goes.
The state guaranteed us most of that money.
Yeah, 85%.
Whatever it was. Yeah. Most of that money based on getting our numbers from out of city people, 25%. Now, what do they tell us now? They don't want us to reach that 25%. Mm-hmm. But why don't they want us to reach that 25%?
Yeah, so they can back out of their deal.
Absolutely. And we would be stuck for that $168 million that's already been committed.
Yeah.
What's that going to make? And our mill rate, we're at almost 40 now, and it probably will be 40. In a few years, it'll be 50. And then maybe 60. We're going to be looking at like Hartford, which is, I think, 80. Or Bridgeport. How many people do you think are going to come into town then?
That's how many people are just going to walk away from the houses because they just can't
afford it.
can't do it.
I mean, I should instead of paying my mortgage, I should be banking that mortgage so I can go buy a house elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why we're putting ours up for sale. Yeah, we can't do
afford
it anymore.
No, you can't afford the property taxes. But nobody in this town ever listens.
Well, because 75% of the taxpayers are told your taxes aren't going up.
But
We're picking on 25% of the taxpayers to pay their own taxes plus the extra shortfall for the other 75%.
But what does that tell the other 75%? They don't listen. They don't pay attention. They're ignorant when it comes to how the money is spent. They don't care because I don't even know what percentage. I would love to know the percentage of the population in New London who is on the dole, who gets some sort of.
Oh, that's easy. That's one of the easiest questions. How much of the town is tax exempt? 60%.
Is it 60 now? I knew it was like 51%.
No, 50. Oh, no.
It's 60 now.
Now, way back when Brown was the manager, the official number then was 58%.
Oh, okay. I didn't
way
know.
Back then.
Okay.
I have never seen an official number come out since then.
Okay.
But there has been more stuff added to the tax exempt list. So that 60% is tax exempt. That means you said how many people are on a dole? Right there, 60%.
And do you think they care what the taxes go up in London?
Well, no, because they're
getting everything
them.
for free. They get. How many people are on food stamps? How many people are on welfare?
It's not necessarily that they don't pay any taxes. A lot of them do pay some taxes.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not paying the full share, so that means they are being subsidized by the people that are paying more than their fair share. So now, just follow this. This is what I like to give to Dennis. He likes numbers when I give them to him. 60% of the town is tax exempt, right? Now, how many people is that? There's 27,640 people. Now, 60% of just make a round guesstimate.
Go. All right. So make it around.
Round guesstimate. About 16,000, right?
Okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So
then there's 40% left. Now, so if there's 16,000,
that
that's
makes a
about
little less than
13
12.
or 12,000.
Right.
12,000 left. Now remember, the city council said 3/4 of those people, their taxes aren't going up. They've been paying taxes now, but 3/4 of those people, the taxes are not going up. So 3/4 of 12,000 is 9, right? Mm-hmm. 9,000 people. So that leaves
3,000.
The one quarter of the taxpayers amounts to 3,000 people to pay their taxes plus more than their share of taxes. So 3,000 people are really supporting the rest of the town. Now, at the same time, what that figure tells you is there are only 3,000 people in this town that can actually afford to live in this town of 27,000 people. Mm-hmm. Only 3,000. Now, 3,000 from, what percentage is that of 27,000?
A little more than 10%, 11%.
10%. So, it's 10% of the people in town carry the biggest load of taxes. Mm-hmm. That shows you how bad our city council is.
But they keep
terrible.
But they keep getting
disgusting.
Elected. The type of people
but people don't understand.
Year after year after year.
People don't understand what's going on.
They don't care.
Because there's 9,000 people that were told, your taxes aren't going up, so you vote for whatever I want.
But How many people in New London?
27,000.
How many people vote in this town?
Well, I'm not counting that. I'm counting the population against the taxpayers. Now, as far as voting, those are different figures. There was what I think was there 13,000 that registered,
Yeah.
and how many vote?
Three?
About 3,000.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
Let's
Well-
take a call.
Well, all right, 3,000. 3,000 people can afford to live in town. How about that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good evening, caller. You're on.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Larry. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're working numbers. Great. Let's take a hypothetical example now. Let's
Okay.
take the 6th district, what it used to be known, I guess it's the 3rd district, or the Soho, south of the hospital, the section of New London that's not represented by Representative Hewitt, that is
That's right.
with the Groton individual.
Right.
Let's take us off the tax rolls. Let's take us off of New London's tax rolls, hypothetical situation, and let us go into the city or town that we're represented by state representation and see where New London would be if you took our district for all the homes that are in this area going to Ocean Beach that pay taxes into New London.
Right.
Since we're not being represented by Mr. Hewitt, why should we pay taxes into the city of New London?
Right.
Hypothetical situation, since you're crunching numbers, but what the impact that would have on the city's coffers would be significant.
Did you know that a lot of the people in the, I guess we have to say 3rd district, right?
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I think we're known now, even though they didn't abide by charter to make that change.
Right. Okay. Did you know that there are a lot of people in the 3rd district and along Pequot Avenue and on those little side streets, they rent their homes out. They don't live here. They just, so they don't get to vote here. I visited a lot of those people's houses numbers of years for referendums, and they were complaining, but they're not willing to do anything
Well,
to change things.
similar scenario to the individuals around Neptune and Ocean Beach Park that complained about the cell tower. They were seasonal residents,
Right.
and they were concerned about cancer in the cell tower, not about it. But anyways, that's a different issue. But what I'm saying is, if you look at this district and how much is probably going into the tax rolls for the city of New London, and if all of a sudden we were redistricted and we fell into Waterford or Groton tomorrow, this city would be in dire straits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, for all practical purposes, we're being taxed without representation because we have to pay taxes to a different municipality than what our state representation is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. How many people do you think Ernie Hewitt would get reelected if the entire town was representing?
I know a majority of his support or people that are on his campaign live in the district that can't even vote for him.
You think there are a lot of people that support him in the
Go
3rd district?
around
See-
at the third district and see how many Ernie Hewitt signs are up on lawns in an area that can't even vote for him when he's up for re-election. Go along Pequot, go along Ocean, go along Montauk. You'll see a significant number of Hewitt signs up, and this district can't even vote for him.
That's right.
Now, down, 3rd district,
Right.
66% of those people are Democrats. 66% are Democrats.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the 3rd district, Nathan Hale School, that's always had the largest turnout out of the 3 districts when it comes to people that go out to vote for this city.
That's true, but they can't vote for. They can't
What
vote
I'm
for
saying,
Hewitt. That's right.
take this whole factor out of this scenario, and the impact on the city would be significant.
Yeah.
Like I said, hypothetical situation, but what Larry's saying, where 25% are have to pay for the other 75. I'll lay odds. A lot of portion of the 25% are falling into this 3rd district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. I would love to see. I mean, I have not seen Andre Baumgartner basically since he got elected. I've seen him say hello once or something. Never seen
Walker, or
him.
whatever his name was, when he was our representative too. He attended maybe 1 or 2 functions over here, but you hardly saw him.
Oh, I never saw him.
The only time you saw him is usually when he was up for re-election.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're right. You're right. Okay, thank you. We have another
Sorry.
call coming in.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, hold a second.
I'm not sure that's...
No, wait yet. You're talking about the 3rd district, and I wasn't really finished. You know, the people in the other 2 districts, once in a while you hear derogatory remarks about all the rich people down there.
Yeah.
Well, think of this now. Think of this. Half of the houses in New London are 150,000 or less. 150,000. Now, since they say most of the money is in the South End, well, those houses are above 150,000, above 300, above 400, above 500. Now, the people that say, you know, I don't like those people because they got money. Just think of this now. If those people were not there, and 100% of the houses in New London, including the south end of town, were 150,000 or less, you know what their tax bill would be then?
Yeah.
Right now, it's $4,000. All of these $150,000 homes taxes would be $10,000. Now what would they say?
Oh.
They should be thanking the people down the south end.
Yeah. And not
that are paying
everybody in the
taxes.
South End is rich. They need to
No.
know that.
Well,
I guess we lost the call. All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's
I wanna-
all right.
All right.
You
There was
managed
something
without
else.
it.
Okay. I want to go. We've beaten that
Okay.
thing right now. All right. I
How
want to
about a
go
little bit
against.
on the DMV?
How many what?
A little bit on the DMV.
And Hackett wants to get rid of the DMV.
Yeah. Oh, sounds good. Yeah. Well, I just heard.
You renew your driver's license through AAA.
Yeah. No, because I just had a little experience with
Go
it.
ahead.
But on the news, they were talking about, because all of this computer screw up, they want to sever relationships with the company that put in these computers.
Yeah.
Well, because the situation is getting worse and worse and worse. Now, I just come back from a trip, and we had a calamity in Florida. I had to buy a car. I'm down there more or less, in a way, stranded, because I live here in Connecticut. We had to buy a car. Went to a dealer. We sat there with the dealer, bought a car, then went through the paperwork. And the paperwork was what they were doing, and talking to the DMV here in Connecticut, paid the Connecticut sales tax, not the Florida sales tax,
Right.
did everything here in Connecticut while we were sitting at the table. How could it be done any better and quicker than that? So why in the world is the DMV here, when you walk into the place, so screwed up?
I think they hired the same people to do the computers that did the Obamacare ones.
Yeah, must be. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I
There
just
was an
wanted to
article
jump
in
that in.
today also. The new town, Connecticut, that had the shooting.
Yeah.
The judge is allowing the lawsuit to go ahead against the gun maker regarding the Newtown shootings.
Yeah.
When somebody gets killed by an automobile,
Yeah.
do they blame the car?
No, it's always the driver.
When somebody, but they're not going to recall cars. When somebody, and there's a lot of killings by knives, stabbings, do they recall the knives?
No, not yet.
Now, there have been a lot of suicides lately. Whether they're hangings, do they recall the rope company?
Hey, yeah.
Or do they recall the drugs that have been? No.
How about when they jump off the roof of a 20-story building? Do
Are
they
they gonna
tear the building down?
That's right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to guns,
Yeah.
they blame guns, and they blame the gun manufacturers. Guns don't kill people. Let's put the gun on the table and see how many people die because the gun is sitting on the table. When are people going to get it through their thick skulls? People kill people. People stab people. People cause deaths because of how they drive.
No,
When are people the only people that kill people with guns are criminals or psychopaths?
well,
But do they go after the criminals? They're trying to. There are more people, honest people, who own guns who don't commit any crime, but they blame the guns,
Oh.
and which is ridiculous. There are more honest people who have guns than anyone that had never killed people. This is another stupid
well, I've got,
Democrat argument that guns kill people. And this lawsuit against the gun manufacturer, I hope the gun manufacturer wins wholeheartedly because this is asinine.
Well,
and this is, in my term, a frivolous lawsuit. You should be going after the person who killed all those people, but he was killed.
yeah. So
Go after his
Yeah.
estate.
Yeah.
He killed his mother. Go after the estate. It was a sad
Yeah.
thing that happened about all these kids that got killed. And
Yeah,
I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the massacre in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
And all they ever do is blame.
Indian place,
But that, all these people that killed, they're terrorists. Well, all the people, this was one deranged kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But all they ever want to do is blame an inanimate object that doesn't think,
well,
instead of the person who is the cause of the problem.
I can say though I've had a little bit of a personal problem like that. You know, much closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one day I remember, you know, I went to flush the toilet. I had to actually jiggle the handle. Now, why aren't they recalling the toilet? If that's what this law means, recall the toilet. I had to jiggle the handle to get it to work. Whose fault was that?
Obviously.
It wasn't mine. I knew how to jiggle it. It wasn't my fault. It had to be the manufacturer. Take it back and do it right. That's what I think of that law.
All the deaths that have been occurring by the Takata airbags,
Oh, yeah,
they're going after the people who made that, the company that made that.
yeah, yeah.
Why aren't they blaming the airbag itself?
No,
It's an inanimate object. It was built by people who obviously have a problem.
yeah,
When are people going to get it's what I've been saying for years. It's time that people start taking responsibility for themselves and for what they do to other people, and stop blaming a situation. Now there's a guy that calls up on the Lee Elsey show,
yeah,
and today it was another, and I emailed Lee back, and I don't know this guy. He seems like a nice guy, but every time I hear him lately, it's always how the white person is a racist. And he's going today, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, why is it Black Lives Matter? Why isn't it all lives matter? And I'm just tired of being called a racist when I haven't done anything.
yeah,
And so, in my eyes, that person's a racist.
right.
But, oh, we can't say that. I didn't cause slavery.
Yeah,
I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I treat everybody the same. Treat me with respect, I will treat you with respect.
yeah, Yeah, that's what I do too. That's how I didn't get along in the Army too good with the officers. You know, they demand respect, and I say, you show me some respect, I'll give you some.
Ladies of Lot next
Oh,
week, I
my.
think it is.
Oh, it's over already.
Yeah,
Hey.
a week early. Take care.
And